In today's episode of Chunks, we'll be talking about action chunks. Go to the park, eat breakfast, drink coffee, send an email, talk about politics. I'm right, you're wrong. Read a book. We'll cover what are action chunks and why using action chunks will improve your spoken English and make English in general much easier to speak and to understand. And we'll also look at the magic of grammar chunks and action chunks working together. But first, where have I been? I haven't made a video for 3 months, and one of the reasons is that I was traveling. I went from the Netherlands down to Rome and back, so stopping at different places on the way down and on the way back. I came to Taiwan about a month ago, and I've done a 9-day walk, so not walking all the time. Starred on Taiwanese TV, got interviewed for the news. And last week I experienced the biggest earthquake in Taiwan since 1999. My experience was I was in the park and I really didn't know what was happening because I was just walking along and all of a sudden the world started going like this. And I thought I was going to faint. I really didn't know what was happening. But then someone said earthquake and then it all started to make sense. And where I live in the great city of Taiwan, huge city on the west side of Taiwan. The earthquake was on the east side in a place called Hualien. And Hualien always seems to suffer from daily earthquakes and quite regular big earthquakes as well. So in the last 10 years, when there's been a big earthquake, it always seems to be in Hualien. But let's get back to action chunks and get back to studying English. So here are some examples of action chunks. Go to the park, eat breakfast, drink coffee, send an email, talk about politics, read a book. And we'll go into a little bit more detail now. So you can see that all action chunks, they start with a verb. So go, eat, drink, send, talk, read. And the basic action chunk is the type 1. So here they're highlighted in green. I will come back to this, tell you more about it, because there are 4 main types. But usually we think about the basic action chunk as type 1. Why thinking chunks? Because languages, the way we express things, it doesn't translate word for word, like go to the park. It might be expressed in a different way in your language. Here we've got 4 words. Maybe you use 2 or 3 words in your language, or possibly 5. And here I highlighted something called prepositions. And prepositions are, how can I say it? They're awkward. They really don't translate very well between languages. So each language seems to use them in a different way. Okay, and you can think of action chunks. You can also think of the stress. The stress usually falls on the more important pieces of information, like go to the park, go to the park. It's not, if you learn languages word by word, you might end up stressing each word equally. And it doesn't work like that in English, at least. So go to the park. It sounds very unnatural, robotic. So go to the park, go to the park, send an email, talk about politics, talk about politics, talk about politics, read a book. So the the an, they're not really pronounced very strongly. Go to the park, go to the park. Send an email, send an email. So the stress is very important. And if you learn in chunks, then you will learn what is important and what is not. And I mentioned this briefly before, that there are 4 types. Normally, when you think of an action chunk, we first think of it in type 1, but there are other types as well. So type 2 is when we talk about the past. I go to the park every day. I went to the park yesterday. Type 3 is kind of difficult to explain, but it goes with have. So I've been to the park, or I've been to the park this morning, which is true. And type 4 uses the ing form, going to the park. And for speaking English, or for making sentences, knowing when to use type 1 and type 4 will really, if you know when to use them, your fluency will skyrocket. Believe me. So we'll choose go to the park and drink coffee, go to the park, went to the park, been to the park. So today I've been to the park. I'm not at the park now. I've been to the park. I could say my friend has gone to the park. So he's either on his way to the park or he's in the park now and going to the park. So I could say he's going to the park or he's gone to the park. And going to the park is something I do every day. So type 4 has many, many uses, not just the continuous. Okay, and the other one is drink coffee, drank coffee, drunk coffee, drinking coffee. So this is a classic irregular verb because it has 4 different types. But because this is just an introduction to action chunks, today we'll only use drink coffee. So we've got drink coffee, type 2 is drank coffee, type 3 is drunk coffee, type 4 is drinking coffee. And what we want to do in the next exercise is to choose the right type. So you will have a grammar chunk and you just need to choose the right type to put into the sentence. Are you ready? Here's our first exercise. She's addicted to plus drink coffee. And in this exercise, you need to decide, is it a type 1? Is it drink coffee? Or is it a type 2? Drank coffee? Is it a type 3? Drunk coffee? Or is it a type 4? Drinking coffee? You've got 6 questions that you need to choose the right type. So pause the video and I will join you when you have finished choosing your types. Just make sure you do choose a type. It doesn't matter if you get it wrong because it means getting things wrong is not a problem. It means that you're probably more likely to get it right next time. Anyway, I will see you when you finish the exercise. Hello. Well, welcome back. And here are the answers, and I will talk you through them. Okay, so she's addicted to drinking coffee. Did you say drink coffee? A lot of people will put drink coffee here because of 2. But sometimes after 2, we can use the type 4. And in this case, she's addicted to drinking coffee. So you can replace drinking coffee with other type 4 actions. She could be, she's addicted to going to the gym. She's addicted to smoking. Other type 4 actions. Okay, number 2, I drank coffee yesterday. So it's a type 2. It could be, I went to the park yesterday, if you're using a different action. He wants to drink coffee. So here we have a 2, but this time we use a type 1. And it's always a type 1 after 1, 2. So he wants to go to the park. He wants to send an email. I've just drunk coffee. I just drunk coffee. So I just will take a type 3 after it. So just is a typical type 3 time. The secret to drinking coffee. So here we have, again, 2, but it's followed by a type 4. So the secret to drinking coffee is to drink it hot. But when you're in Taiwan and it's a hot day, actually iced coffee is very good. So I will probably do a video about 2, when to use a type 1 and when to use a type 4. So that will be coming up. Some exciting news there. And if I were you, I'd drink coffee. So after I'd or I would use a type 1. Okay, it's good to be back. It's very good to be back. 3 months break was far too long. And hopefully, now I set things up, I will be able to make videos on a much more regular basis. Please feel free to comment, and if you want to focus on something, tell me. I might be able to help you there. As I said earlier, I will be making a lot of videos related to chunks. And I think the next video will be about 2, when to use type 1 and when to use type 4. Great to be back. Like the video. Subscribe if you haven't already. See you very soon.